All right, today we're cracking open a book that's, well, it's more than just a book. We're diving into Alaa Al Aswany's incredible novel, The Yacoubian Building. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, how a single novel can just capture the soul of an entire nation. And that's exactly what this book does. It's not just a story, it's like a window looking right into the heart of Cairo. You see everything, the hopes, the fears, all the contradictions of a whole society. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. How can one building, just a single apartment block, tell the story of a whole country? I mean, how can the lives of people, from the fancy penthouses all the way up to the makeshift shacks on the roof, be a perfect map of Egypt itself? So, you ready? Let's step inside. We're going to go floor by floor through this amazing literary landmark, meet the people who live there, and uncover some of the secrets they're trying so hard to keep. Okay, first things first. It is absolutely crucial to get this. The building is not just some setting. It's not just a backdrop. It's a living, breathing character in its own right. And its story, it perfectly mirrors the incredible, dramatic history of modern Egypt. And part of what makes this story hit so hard is that it's real. I mean, the Yacoubian Building actually exists. The author's own father had an office there. That real-world connection just gives everything that happens inside so much more weight, so much more authenticity. You feel it. Just look at the building's own timeline. It tells the whole story. Back in 1934, it was this shining example of European style, built for Egypt's high society. But then, boom, the 1952 revolution happens, and suddenly military officers are moving in. Fast forward to the 60s, and those storage rooms up on the roof, they're being used for servants and chickens. And then in the 70s, a new economic policy comes along, and those same rooms get sold off to poor families. All of a sudden, you have a literal two-tiered society inside the same four walls. The building itself physically changed right alongside Egypt's own social and political upheavals. All right, so let's head downstairs into those grand apartments. This is where you really see it, this epic battle between the ghosts of the past and the ruthless ambition of the present. This is where the novel's main conflict just gets laid bare. You've got two completely different worlds colliding. On one side, there's Zaki Bey, representing this kind of fading, old-world aristocracy. And on the other, Hagg Azzam. He's the face of the new, corrupt money, the kind that wraps itself in religion to get what it wants. It is a total clash of values, and it's all happening right there in the hallways. Zaki Bey. What a character. Seriously. He's the son of a prime minister, got his education in Paris, and now he basically just spends his days drinking whiskey, coming up with these wild theories about women, and moaning about the 1952 revolution, the thing that basically wiped out his family's status and fortune. He's like a walking, talking ghost of Egypt's past, just living on borrowed time. And then you have the complete opposite, Hagg Azzam. This guy started as a shoeshine boy and clawed his way up to become this super wealthy, super corrupt businessman. He's desperate for a seat in parliament, and he uses religion like a weapon, getting his spiritual leader to sign off on everything, from his shady business deals all the way to taking a secret second wife. He is the new face of power in Egypt, a power built on a whole lot of cash and a whole lot of hypocrisy. But it's not just about money and power, not at all. These apartments are also hiding some really deep personal secrets. A perfect example is Hatim Rasheed. He's this respected, sophisticated newspaper editor who is also living a secret life as a gay man, terrified of being discovered by a society that would absolutely ruin him. His story just rips the cover off the social hypocrisy of the time. Okay, so we've seen the apartments. Now let's climb the stairs, because up on the roof, above all that decaying grandeur, there's another world. A completely different world, where every single day is a fight for survival, for dignity, and for faith. I mean, just picture this. These aren't apartments. They're converted storage sheds. 50 tiny little iron rooms, each one just 2 meters by 2 meters. This goes way beyond just being poor. It's a whole separate society, literally built on top of the wealthy one below, with its own rules, its own gossip, its own bitter struggles. And up on that roof, you find Taha. His story is, it's one of the most tragic and powerful parts of the whole book. He starts out as this good kid, devout, just wants to become a police officer and serve his country. But the system shuts him down. Why? Because his dad's a doorman. That humiliation, that rejection, it pushes him towards radical ideas. And when the state responds with arrest and torture, that seals the deal. It's just a heartbreaking look at how a corrupt system can turn a good person into the very enemy it fears. And this line from Busaina, his childhood sweetheart, it just hits you right in the gut. She says to him, "You think you're Abdel Halim Hafiz, the poor, hardworking boy whose dreams will come true if he struggles?" She's already seen how the world really works. She's cynical because she has to be. She gets something Taha doesn't yet, that for people on the roof, this whole idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is a total fantasy. It's a cruel joke. And Busaina's cynicism, it isn't just an attitude. It's born from some really brutal experiences. She has to support her family, and that means putting up with being exploited by her bosses over and over again. You see, for her and for so many people on that roof, things like morality become a luxury, something you just can't afford when you're fighting to survive every single day. So you've got these two totally separate worlds, the fancy apartments and the rooftop shacks, but they're not sealed off from each other. They're connected. By what? By the stairwell. And that stairwell is where their lives are destined to collide, often with disastrous results. So that's the big question, right? What actually happens when these people from the roof and the people from the apartments meet? Is there any hope for genuine connection? Or is it all just about power and who gets to exploit whom? As you can probably guess, the book shows us it's a really, really messy mix of both. And man, does it create a tangled web. You get these surprising moments of real tenderness, like the bond that actually grows between the old aristocrat Zaki and the cynical Busaina. But let's be honest, most of the time it's about exploitation. Hagg Azzam's secret marriage to a poor widow, it's a cold, hard transaction. And Hatim's relationship with a young police conscript, it's the same story, just a different kind of power imbalance. And then there are the schemers, guys like Malak the tailor. He is a master of playing the angles, working that space between the roof and the apartments. Get this, he even fakes a whole article in the New York Times just to make his little shop seem legit. I mean, you got to admire the hustle, right? It's such a perfect little detail that shows you the kind of desperate creativity you need just to get by. Okay, so we've walked the halls, we've peeked into the apartments, we've climbed up to the roof. Which brings us all the way back to that first big question. Why? Why does this one building in Cairo matter so much to people all over the world? It's because the Yacoubian Building is so much more than just a building. It's a mirror held up to an entire nation, and it reflects everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the corrupt, but also the humanity that somehow manages to survive it all. When you look in that mirror, what do you see? You see the huge gaping chasm between the rich and the poor. You see the old elite crumbling away, replaced by a new, corrupt one. You see a straight line drawn from social injustice right to religious extremism. You see the hypocrisy everywhere, in politics, in religion, in sex. And most of all, you see the absolutely brutal choices people have to make just to survive. And that's really the final thought to leave you with. The reason this book is so powerful is because it's universal. Every society, every single city has its own Yacoubian buildings, these places where the powerful, the poor, and the pious all collide. So I guess the real question is, what does yours look like? And what stories are hiding inside its walls?